So it's December 30th, and for some unknown reason, I feel compelled to do my favorite things of the year and my most hated things of the year, which I don't have that many. So I don't even know why I'm bothering doing this right now, but I've got one day left, and I'm like, I'm not going to watch everything. Pig is available on Hulu to watch. I need to watch Pig, Nicolas Cage movie. I doubt it'll be either my favorite or my least favorite, so I don't think that matters, but if it should, I'll take this whole thing down and start again. There are some other things I need to watch, so I'll just update my little LJ thing, but for right now, I have some pretty clear favorites. I mean, I've got 3 movies that are sort of tied for my favorite movie of the year, which I've only seen, like, I haven't even seen 10 movies. But, also, I love to Get Back, and I don't know what to consider that. So, let's see. So, up until now, I was saying that I couldn't really tell if Black Widow was my favorite movie of the year or In the Heights. Now, what bothers me about things right now is, like, for years and years and years, even though I live here nowhere, online I was always able to discuss movies with everybody else, and we all watched the most important ones, or tried to, and going all the way back to when I used to be one of the talkbackers on Ain't It Cool News way back. You know, it was like you'd see a movie, you'd talk about it in different places, you know, different forums or different, you know, and that gradually got less and less and less. So that's kind of something that to me really sucked about Twitter and things like that, because it kind of ended like the whole message board thing that I really liked. And, you know, that was because where I live and the people I'm around, they're not movie people. Like, I'm not close, not even close, interested in movies like I am. I mean, they watch them, but they don't care about, you know, discussing them and what's better and who's this and all that nonsense crap that we do. But so I miss that, and it's kind of, I mean, there are those people who now they've got all the streaming and I don't, so I can't really participate in that way. But having just seen Matrix Resurrections in the theater after not having seen anything since The Gentleman, you know, that weekend that it came out, it's like, that's how you're supposed to see movies. That's how things are supposed to be. But like I said, this is supposed to be the past, and it's really confusing. But I did not see these other 2 movies in the theater. I didn't see Black Widow or In the Heights in the theater. I saw it, you know, on Blu-ray, basically. But so I can't tell which is my favorite. I saw it In the Heights first, I guess, out of the 3. So yeah, I loved In the Heights. I know that right now, they're pushing for a West Side Story to get all the Oscar shit and everything. I haven't seen it, and honestly, I'm not interested. I love the old West Side Story. I mean, I love it. It's in my top 100 of all time. I watched the movie. I rewatched it recently, and I can't for the life of me figure out why you would want to remake it. Steven Spielberg's obviously one of our best directors, and you know what sort of amazed me in watching the trailers and stuff is I didn't like the way it looked. And I'm like, I didn't like the color palette. I didn't like, it just looked wrong. And I was like, how is the trailer making me think this looks like shit? And you know, the way the old movie looks, the old movie looks like, the colors are kind of chalky and stuff like that, but that looked appropriate to the time. This is now, if anything, it should be sleek and it should have this perfect color palette and everything should be wonderful. And it just looked like too many close-ups and stuff, and I haven't seen it. You know, the movie could be great, I don't know. But what bothers me is because it's positioned at the end of the year for Oscar shit, and it overshadows In the Heights, which is a new thing instead of a remake. And I don't understand why. I mean, I guess Lin-Manuel Miranda has 2 other things, right? He's got that Tick Tick Boom and Encanto. And what happens sometimes is, and I know this just from being somebody who used to pay, I'm not expert. I'm not an Oscar watching expert, but I know that, you know, positioning and people decide what movie they're going to push and everything like that. So if you have 2-3 projects and you feel like it didn't get the push or it didn't get the support it needed in the beginning, maybe you shift on to other projects. But I really liked In the Heights. I thought it was great. I thought that and I'm comparing it to other movies and other musicals. I'm not comparing it to everything this year, but to me, that's something that in my mind, as a a film goer and somebody who always paid attention to Oscars, these would be the movies I was pushed. I could tell in any year that regardless of what else was out, this is the kind of movie that I would push, and I would say this is something that should be recognized. And like I said, that due to timing and maybe poor box office response in the middle of pandemic, when the movie theaters were hardly open and people were still at various stages of being vaccinated and stuff, to people used its box office numbers against it, and I didn't think that was fair at all, especially at that time. So to now say, when most people are vaccinated, people used to going out and stuff like that, to act like West Side Story is so amazing, and from the reviews and stuff, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like people like it that much, but that's where the push is, and I feel like it has knocked away anything In the Heights would have got, which I loved. I really loved the music numbers. I did my review of it. I thought all the actors were perfect. All that bullshit about people not having enough dark-skinned people. Like I said, I grew up in the Northeast, right? I grew up right here in this town in Massachusetts. The only other place I lived is New York City. And the majority of people that I was around who were Hispanic were not very dark-skinned. Yes, there are some. But the proportion, the ratio seemed pretty right or correct in the Heights. For my experience living in the Northeast for 48 years now. So all that stuff was bullshit in my opinion. All that, whatever, when there are these articles and when there are this shit, it's for a reason. Studios are competing all year long to win Oscars. I don't know why anymore, because it's not what it once was. It hasn't been for a little while anyway, but especially since the pandemic. I mean, did anybody even watch the Oscars last year? Because it was crappy. And they shouldn't even bothered with it. But this year and last year should be asterisk years, and nobody should really care what wins. But if we're really talking about movies that should be recognized, I really thought In the Heights was really great. I mean, it belongs in the upper echelon of musicals, and I mean all the musicals. Like I said, a remake that the color palette, I haven't seen West Side Story, so I can't say for sure. I just dislike that it's taking the thunder from In the Heights, which I thought was great. And I do also believe that people who liked the Broadway show probably also complained about the screen adaptation, because people always do that because they change things. So you may have a movie that is better than the one getting nominated and for Oscars, but because it didn't have the right press at the time, because people were more critical on that when they're ready to pat somebody else on the back, I don't know. But I thought it was great, and all the actors and actresses, they're all super talented. They all had great voices. I mean, yeah, like I said, those dance numbers were like the old Busby Berkeley ones, the real big production numbers. And I don't know, I don't know how many people saw it. I don't know how many regular people. Like, I don't know if it took hold on video or what. I don't know if it translated to other people. I just don't know. But okay, so yeah, I love that. Then I saw Black Widow. Now, Black Widow, I've seen other people's reviews of it, and it reminds them of this movie, that movie. It reminded me of a lot of great movies, but I liked the whole, well, I guess I should say spoilers. I like the whole the idea that these women were being used because there's just, the world's got too many of them, and they're being used as agents, just to, and being brainwashed and all that stuff. And it just, I liked the idea. I liked that it, to me, it was original. This is something that I look for, and I mean, not nothing can be completely original anymore. But when there's originality within something, it's to be noticed. And I really like the way the whole thing was done. I don't know this director lady. I haven't seen anything she did before, so I'm not sure. Especially with things like the MCU, it's starting to look like, and I'm not trying to take anything away from this woman because I did look at some of the behind the scenes and it did look like she was right there the whole time. But sometimes you wonder now how much is like a real team effort where they bring in everybody. I don't know that you can really see if there's a director's vision or not with that sort of thing anymore. I'm saying sort of thing. The fights didn't seem too obnoxious. Like I said, I'm kind of tired of the fight choreography in some of these movies because it always seems the same. But that's not really what I was paying attention to. I've heard other people complain about the special effects. You know what? In these movies, because I'm so sick of the fight choreography being the same, because of course they're going to have special effects, I don't even pay attention anymore. The only time I'll pay attention to special effects is if it really looks really bad. You know, there's a scene here or there, Black Panther. There's so many scenes in the DC movies where, you know, somebody goes to fly or jump, whether it's Superman or Wonder Woman, and they look like a rubber chicken. You know what I mean? So I don't even pay attention to that anymore because it's like, with all the money they spend, they can't afford to make things look right sometimes. So I don't even pay. I didn't notice anything wrong with the special effects in Black Widow. But that's not what I was paying attention to. I liked the story. I liked the actors in it. I'm not a big fan of Rachel Weisz, but they all did really great together. Scarlett, obviously, I mean, she's still relatively young. She's got to be an icon on her own by now because she had great success outside of the Avengers. You know, with other movies like Under the Skin and Lucy and all that stuff. So, and she started off in more, you know, she started off in Woody Allen movies and more independent things like that. So there's, you don't, I mean, I think once you've been around forever, people don't want to compliment you anymore. And I feel like people are saying that Florence Pugh overshadowed her. She did and she didn't. I mean, it takes more to be the person who takes a back seat, like Christian Bale did in the Batman movies. You know you're a great actor. You know you're awesome already. You don't need to chew up the scenery. You don't need to dazzle people because, you know, you're confident in yourself and you're generous enough to allow your other actors to shine. David Harbour. I like David Harbour since I think I first saw him in Brokeback Mountain, to tell you the truth. But he got kind of annoying on Stranger Things because it's just playing like grumpy dad. But this was really funny. His sense of humor really came out, and I really liked him in the role. Yeah, I generally don't like Ray Winstone, but he didn't bother me here. He made sense here. I pretty much liked everything about that movie. I know, again, these movies were judged on their box office. She had to sue Disney. I mean, everything's a nightmare right now. But, yeah, to me, I think I've given all these movies. I don't think I gave In the Heights a 10. I forget why, but pretty much they're all 10s or 9s for me. And then when you get into favorites, I will figure that out later on as time passes, and, you know, whichever one I keep going back to, that'll be it. I just saw Matrix Resurrections 2 days ago in the theater, and I loved it. I know I'm not supposed to. I thought, okay, I must be the crazy person because everybody's saying it sucks and it doesn't make sense. But as I'm going now on YouTube and I'm looking around at some of the other videos, it's like, okay, like from That Guy Matrix Explained, and some of these people are pointing out to people stuff that may have been sort of obvious for me, but I'm not a specific person. I don't get down into the nitty-gritty. I don't, you know, I'm not going to know shit about code and everything, but to me, and I think I'm going to do another video about Resurrection, saying the stuff that I couldn't get out because I was too hyper when I came out of the theater. But yeah, I love the way it looked. I mean, at the end of Revolutions, at the very ending scene, You see that the colors are real, like true, natural, beautiful colors. Whereas most of the rest of the trilogy was either tinted blue or tinted green, depending on what you were supposed to think about the location in the film. At the very end of Revolutions, it was more natural, beautiful sunset type colors. And this movie had a lot of that. So to me, the way that was done in the lighting, I can't stop talking about the lighting was amazing. I loved, I know the fight choreography and stuff like that isn't what other people like. I did not, when I watched The Matrix, I wasn't all about the, or, you know, Reloaded or Revolutions. Yeah, some of that stuff looked kind of cool, but this to me looks cooler because it actually looks like they're fighting. And it looks like they're hitting each other and somebody might get hurt. If I go back and I watch the other Matrix movies, it looks like patty cake. It looks like they're tapping each other because they're doing choreography and nobody's getting damaged, which is fine if you're thinking they're just things in a computer game, like a video game. But when human beings are trying to fight each other because they want to kill somebody or stop somebody from doing whatever they're supposed to be doing, you're supposed to try to injure, and it's supposed to look like it could hurt. And that it looked like that to me in Resurrection. So a lot of the complaints that I'm seeing from people, I'm just like, they wanted to see something that was exactly like what they saw before, and this was too different. Even though it totally makes sense if you progress the story as the story was progressing. But if you want it to go back and look like The Matrix from 1999, it's nothing like it. And I don't think it should be, because the story and the technology and where they were going, the whole thing of it progressed and moved on. So this is now 20 years on. It should look like it's 20 years on. It shouldn't look like the same old thing. If that's what you wanted, go watch the old thing again. For me, it was great. It was great. It had everything to do with the world we're in right now. It commented on it. It was, to me, it's current. It's, I don't know, there's just a million things I love about it. So I don't understand the hatred of it from people. There are alpha males who will come out and say they hate it for this reason, that reason, woke, and this is woke. I don't like woke shit either. I didn't think it was woke for a second. But once those people come out, the other people will start to attack, because now it's the cool thing to do. Well, the hip kids are doing it, I'm going to do it too. Or they know what they're talking about. They're the popular channel. I'm going to say what the popular channel is saying. And it works for people. It gets them clicks, it gets them likes, it gets them subscribers, because it's like it's the herd mentality in the wrong way. So just like the, you know, people on one side of the political aisle, they all gang up and say the same thing. The response from the other side is to do the same thing. So the people who want all the representation are ganging up that way. The people who don't want any woke shit are ganging up this way. And it just, the truth is in the middle somewhere, you know. And I think years from now, people are going to like this the way people now like the Star Wars prequels, which, when they first came out, and I remember it, people hated it. They were saying the same kind of shit they're saying about Matrix Resurrections right now. So, those are the three movies I think are my favorite. Now, Get Back. I loved Get Back on Disney Plus. And I wish I'd seen it in the theater. But, again, it's 3 parts. It's just like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Peter Jackson really knows how to pull on our strings. He gave us a great gift, and I really love it. And I'm not even a casual Beatles fan. I like them just like everybody likes the Beatles. But and when I was a kid, I would watch some things. I watched the Beatles cartoons on I think MTV used to play it then, and in the 80s, you know. And I watched Help and Hard Day's Night and all that kind of stuff. So I had a favorite Beatle, which was Ringo. And, you know, I knew it was sad that they broke up. And when you think about anything from the past and how cool things used to be, just hearkening back sometimes just makes you sad in and of itself, because the world is so shitty now compared to then. And watching Get Back, it was so... It felt like cuddling up in front of the fire with family. In being in a more innocent time, it really, to me, it like brought me back to a place where things were peaceful, and you know, the Beatles were around, and you could just be happy, and people had their issues with each other, but they were real. They were real people in a room talking to each other, associating, and these people just happened to be brilliant, you know, but they were going through shit, relationship shit, just like everybody does. But it was more open and honest, and I don't even think people are like that anymore. I think people, you know, all on their devices, just like I'm sitting here talking to you. I don't know you. I'm talking to you through a screen, you know. But to have that, I don't want to call it bird's eye view. It was just to really know how everything went. Just having heard all those years about how Yoko broke up the Beatles and all this stuff like that, and just seeing how everything went, and knowing that that's the end, really, that they're not going to play together ever again after that show, and just the whole build up to it. And I mean, it had everything. The story, I mean, to me, the villain was the director guy, who kept trying to get them to perform in Tripoli or whatever it was. But he wasn't a bad person either. It's just, and it's his fault that we have this, so, and we have to thank him as well. But the way Peter Jackson wove it together, and I don't understand. You could tell me, you could explain to me, you could show me a bunch of behind the scenes shit. How you clean up old movies like that and make them look crystal clear like they just were filmed today. I am never going to understand that, because how you not doing that with CGI or something, you know? It freaks me out, and it's just like, it's so amazing to me, because I don't know, my DVD player just went bananas on me. I had something in there. So yeah, so if that was a movie, if they were movies, if they had been in the theater, if that it came on a streaming service, I guess makes it television. If they had been movies that came out, the first one came out one year, then a few months later or whatever, first, part one of Get Back would be my favorite movie of the year, no doubt. And then just like with Lord of the Rings, then I like the third one, and then the second one comes last. But yeah, I really enjoyed those a lot. Otherwise, I didn't see a lot this year. There's a lot of things I kind of liked. I ended up liking Those Who Wish Me Dead. But that's not in my top favorite things. So I guess as far as movies are going, I can now say the stuff I hated. Okay. So my hatred for the Justice League continues. Actually, it's not for the Justice League, because I didn't mind the other one. But Zack Snyder's Justice League. I don't even know why we're counting that as a movie this year, but it came out this year, right? What? I mean, it's just annoying. Zack Snyder's minions are just annoying. They insist that he's this incredible director and all the shit, and it's like, no, he's not. And I said everything about why I hate that damn thing, but I really wouldn't even count it as this year's movie. But since it is, that's my most hated movie of the year. I hated a couple of other things. Tom Holland was in a couple movies. Cherry, which just abused that poor child. He's not a little boy, but to me he is. And it made me very angry. Like, I don't know who wants to watch the kids suffer. I don't. And I said all that. That Chaos Walking looked like it had real potential, but it went to hell. But I think there's something else I hate. I'm gonna check and make sure. Okay, no, that's it. That's as far as movies go. I mean, I didn't see anything really. And the stuff, I saw a few others that count as this year's movies, and they're alright. You know what I mean? But so those are my most favoritist and most hatedest of the year. I hope that things look up. I hope that we get to see more. I'm going in. I'm not focused, am I? So why is it doing that? I don't know. I'm blue because the screen went blue. My TV screen went blue. But I'm not. What's the girl who turns into a grape in a big huge grape? I guess I might look like that right now. But yeah. So those are my most favorite things and my least favorite things, because I didn't have that many things to talk about. But yeah. So I know those aren't popular opinion. I know the things that I ended up liking are not things that other people like. That's fine. I've always been strange. I've always been weird. I don't mind being, I don't mind being different, but I just have always said my true feelings on the subject of films, and it was nicer when there was more discussion and we were more of a community, and there was more of a proper calendar where everybody saw the things at the same time. I know other people, like I said, other people are on like a streaming calendar. I haven't converted to that yet. I don't have the money to, but I don't know what's going to happen. Movies or streaming, or people or not people, or theaters or not theaters. But I did enjoy a few things there very much, and I'm glad to have them, and I'm grateful that they came around. And I hope that people will like them more, or people who didn't watch them, who heard shit about them and avoided them for that reason, will, because I think it's hard, it's because it's so much more difficult to do anything, go out or schedule all the streaming things that you need to watch. People pick and choose, and they're more likely to listen to, you know, if they hear overwhelming bad opinions, they're going to say forget it. And in the case of something like Matrix Resurrections, it's not easy. It's not going to be something that you understand right away. I don't understand it right away. I got a lot of the gist of it, and I liked what I saw, and I can't wait to delve into it when I can in the future, which is not right now. But for it to get dismissed out of hand because people jumped on the bandwagon of hating something that isn't exactly like the movies they already liked, well, that's your fault for going and wanting to see the same shit. But anyway, I have talked too much. Goodbye.